recently, the executives from LIV, they gave a media presentation and highlighted the business model changes. And there's some significant changes.
Yeah, the players seem thrilled about it.
In here. So
are they massaging the players to make them feel good about making their decision that they made?
It's possible.
We'll see. Okay.
It's possible. But I wonder if one of these helps to remedy that viewership problem that we talked about earlier. And the first one is that the season for 2023 is now going to run from February through September.
So they get 3 months off.
Yes, and the shift of February through September is a dramatic change from what we saw this year, which we were speculating that could it be that a big part of why the viewership was down because they're competing with football.
Right. They went into October, almost November.
Right.
Yep.
So whereas I think in some ways it was smart to try not to compete directly with the events of the PGA Tour, and they ran late summer and after the FedEx Cup, they ran some of their big events. LIV did, but now you're seeing a shift. Now it's going to go like head to head right against the meat of the PGA Tour season.
I wonder when they're going to do that because so much happens. You got the FedEx Cup playoffs, and then you got the Ryder Cup, which is September and August, September. Like when are they going to? Is all what happened last past weekend going to happen right after? Well,
there's
Ryder Cup?
no doubt. If you're going February to September, there's no doubt in my mind that you're going to have events that are going to go on the same weekends as PGA Tour events. There's a PGA Tour event every weekend,
right?
You know, the ones that'll be definitely in question is I obviously don't think there's going to be any LIV event the week of the Masters in April, the majors. There's no way they're going to do something because they're still pulling hard that their players will go play in the majors. And as of right now, it looks like they still can. But that's going to be a huge one. There's also going to be a future transfer market of players. So I'm assuming what they mean by that is trades.
Yep.
Right? So players can get traded from one team to the other. I think they really want to keep building on this obviously this team.
Yeah, it's becoming
component.
a business, the team. It's its own little business.
It is.
Okay, what else?
Well, evidenced by that is that the 12 teams will be owned 75% by LIV and 25% by principal players is what they're calling them. And we had reported on this, I think, not too long ago that eventually I think their goal is for LIV to get, or at least the Saudi part of it, to get some of their financial backing out that they had originally put in and start to sell the teams. And they'll become bigger owners.
How much can those teams really make?
That's what I'm wondering because I still haven't seen a revenue model.
Right. Like
so you go and buy a team.
And they win all 14 weeks, let's just say. And they win $100 million.
Unless as a part owner, do you take home some of those winnings? Because right now the winnings are going to the players, right?
Right.
Okay. So, I mean, Zach, how does F1 work? How does the owner make money? They have sponsors.
Yeah, a lot of sponsors, advertising.
But if they win don't they get money for a race?
I really don't know how that works out, but they don't ever talk about, Lewis Hamilton won X amount of $1 million from this.
Right.
I think they're all car companies. For the most part, they're car companies. And so it's amazing advertising to sell vehicles.
Well,
and that's probably where they make the majority of their money. Like Honda's losing money being in Formula One, but they're making it back probably tenfold because they
win on Sunday, sell on Monday.
Yeah, they're building the engine.
And how much does a team in LIV make when the team wins that week? $4 million for the week
per week. I think it's $4 million. So each guy takes home one. Isn't it each guy takes home one?
It's either one or
I mean, I don't see that. Let's say if it's a team event, the team takes home 4. They split it equally.
So now is someone going to come in and take one of those 4?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that's just it. Another way that teams make money, team owners make money, is owning part of the broadcast. Didn't we say that with the Yankees with Yes Network and that
football,
big deal that was done? Right. So you're the owner of the Yankees. You get a portion of the broadcast. Well, right now there's no broadcast.
So who created the Yes Network?
Yankees.
The Yankees.
Right.
So why can't LIV create the LIV network?
Well, they have nowhere to put it. That's the problem.
And
they're
they would
trying
have
to get a cable
probably
company to say we'll put that
buy
now,
a channel.
Right. As of right now, no cable company is putting out LIV.
And how many cable companies are in the world? There's a lot.
I mean, there are a lot, but you have to then remember that the majority of television channels are all owned by probably 3 conglomerates.
Correct.
Right.
So if those 3 big players don't want anything to do with LIV, they're just not going to be on TV.
They're not going to be on
right.
TV.
So right now what LIV was looking to do was actually purchase airtime, which is going the other direction. It's not revenue. It's obviously a cost. So what I'm saying is as these people who become owners, whatever the ownership is, what is that? Because I even think of like when you own like a soccer team, like the asset because of like is it the sponsorship, the sponsorship money, the money they put on the jerseys, the all that type of stuff, the broadcast. LIV would obviously have to iron all that out because right now they're sponsorless events, everything's sponsored by LIV. And right now they're just pulling from that same Saudi money that they have. And at some point that has to change. But that's what they're saying. LIV is making that commitment that looks like they're trying to get other owners and other money in. 75% owned by LIV, 25% owned by some principal players.
And do they expect the principal players to buy 25% of the team, or is it going to be granted to them?
No, they might
because
have to buy
it's
in.
like, so now is Phil's $200 million that he got from LIV, half of that money going to go away because he has to pay $100 million to buy 25% of this team that doesn't have like a
you're so
value?
assuming that Phil would buy the team?
Well, I assume that the principal players are going to be like Cam Smith.
No,
DJ.
I don't think they're going to be players, golf players.
That's the question I have. When they say principal players,
to me, I thought that meant
as a broader
like the
term.
team
It could be.
captains.
We don't know. It could be players who have a lot of money, like the DJs and Phils.
That's how I assumed.
So you're that could be
partners.
it, but you're hearing it different than I'm thinking principal players just being like
who's in play to buy this thing?
Who's in play to buy?
What wealthy people are in play?
Exactly.
That's what I think.
See, my head went to a completely different space.
Right.
Like they're going to sell these to the players so that the players have a play and a hand in everything.
Like a franchise.
To me, that makes more sense. Yeah. Like having the Phil-owned, backed team.
But it's still a lot to figure out.
DJ owned and backed team.
There's still so much to figure out though, because let's say Phil is a part owner of a team, and in 2 years he decides to retire. What happens then? Does ownership? Because ownership could get to be, especially if it becomes like a business, and like ownership could be like a weird thing. But the other thing they're saying is now that each team will have substitute players, which would bring the league to total of 60 players.
And we envisioned this. We saw this coming a mile away.
We did. And you'd have to have subs. You can't have a four-man team. The guys are going to get injured. Guys are going to have conflicts. They're not going to be able to make it. You can't have you're down a man. You know, it would be you almost be out of contention being down a man.
But if the team wins in the week that you're not there, do you make any money?
It's a good question.
I'm sure that'll be part of the plan.
Split up now that they're 5-man teams with the substitute?
I bet the off guy of the week still gets compensated somehow.
You would think.
Could you imagine, Frank? We don't need you this week. You stay home. We'll send you a check if we win.
You'd be like Pat Perez. See Pat? I mean, his headline was.
Pat's having a year of his life.
His headline was just too good. I gotta.
What's that quote?
Hold on, Pat. Let me tell you.
Because this guy says more.
At least, if nothing else,
Perez
I mean, he's been
Perez.
the butt of the jokes, but at least, if nothing else, he's owning it. He goes,
he's owning it far more than any other golfer on the tour. He's like, I don't care. Like
Pat cleared $7 million in team prize money this year, and he just said, "I'm paid. I don't give a, you know what."
Right. So Pat. He also got about $10 million to go there, which was speculated. So not a bad 3 months for Pat.
Not a bad 3 months.